it's easy to forget what he's done, whether it be in the Bible times or in our own lives. It's just so easy to forget when we're blinded by the storm. And that's what happened to the disciples. They got in this boat, and Jesus said, "Go to the other side, and I'll meet you on the other side." So they have their command. They have their orders from Jesus, directly from his mouth. Go to the other side, and I'll meet you there. So they were following orders. They weren't out of his will. They weren't doing the wrong thing. They weren't doing a bad thing. They were doing exactly what he said. And did Jesus know there was a storm coming? Absolutely, because he's God and he knows everything. But he used this opportunity to teach his disciples and to remind them that he could be trusted. So they're in the boat. They start their way rowing across, and I don't know how far they get. The Bible says they're in the midst of the sea. So that could be right smack dab in the middle. They could have just gotten out. They could be very close to the other side. I don't know. They're in the midst of the sea, and a storm hits. And these are seasoned fishermen. I'm sure they've been in storms before. But the way that the Bible puts it, it just makes it seem like this storm was extraordinarily bad. It was just a horrendous storm. And it says that, basically telling us about the timelines, these disciples were rowing for about 9 hours. Now, geography-wise, looking at things and whatever, it shouldn't take that long to go from one side to the other. But they were still in the midst of the sea, and they had been rowing for 9 hours. And despite all that effort, all that time rowing and rowing and rowing, it was like they were getting nowhere. For every little bit they got forward, the wind and the rain and the waves would push them backward. They'd go forward and they'd get pushed backward. And if ever there was a good illustration of what it feels like when storms hit in life, that's it. I don't know if you've been there. I'm sure you have. I'm sure we've all been there. The past several months for us and our ministry and our personal lives and everything has been just like that. We've taken a step forward and been pushed about 3 steps back. And we've taken a step forward and been pushed 3 steps back. And it can be very frustrating and very tiring because you feel like you're trying so hard to do what the Lord wants you to do, but something's fighting you. Something's fighting against you, and it's pushing you back more and more all the time. And it's making it harder to do the things that you're trying to do, which are already difficult. So that's what the disciples were facing. They were facing this storm and these contrary winds to where they were trying to go forward, and it was just pushing them back. And I'm sure they were afraid. I'm sure they were exhausted. I'm sure they were frustrated. And we all know what it feels like to be that way, to have just put forth so much effort and just feel like you're not getting anywhere. But it's not over yet. The story is not over yet. And they will get to the other side just like we will.